And I am Ethan Williams, also from Econ Infinity. And remember what we do at Econ Infinity is that we teach online CSEC and CAPE economics classes. Remember, you can sign up anytime. The information is below. You can call us. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. And you can get more details on our packages. This week is what do we have in store for our students?
Alright, a couple episodes ago we were focusing on CSEC economics. But now it's time for you superheroes out there to go and get your kids, right? So that's what we're doing this week. We're studying CAPE economics. So all the superheroes, it's your time to shine.
Yes. So now, what are we going to look at? We're going to look at two economic concepts, of course. What are those again, Andrew?
Alright, so we have two views of economics here. We want to categorize certain statements. Because we hear in the news certain statements about the economy, but we need to have two views. One is what we call positive economics, and one is called normative. And we use statements to analyze it. So Ethan can tell a little bit more about it.
Yes, so we have a positive economic statement and we have normative statement. But on the positive side, take for example, I say to you that I am 6'3", right?
And he's like 500 pounds, right guys?
I mean, he's skinny, of course. But yes, that is a positive statement because it can't be justified. It somewhat can be turned into facts. So those are positive statements. But on the normative side, if I say that, Andrew should go to the gym so he can get more muscles.
So I use body exercise. You see the muscle here? Gains.
That is a norm.
Yes, it's opinion essentially. So that's what normative is.
Yes.
So we have some statements here that we're going to read, and I'm sure that you viewers can actually see what's happening here. So
yes. So we look at some statements, and I want you guys to help us to determine if they are normative and positive or positive statements. And remember with normative, use words such as fair, just, should, could, those words that are opinionated. And positive statements are ones which are factual. So answer the first statement.
Alright, so an increase in taxes on goods and services results in an increase in tax revenue and a higher tax to debt GDP ratio. So now, question like that, Ethan.
And a higher tax to GDP ratio.
Yeah.
Not that, sorry about that. But is that a positive or a normative statement? You guys positive? Yes, Corey. It is a positive statement because it can be justified, can be proven. You want to see us test that. And it reads right here, you can see that in both Guyana and Barbados, an increase in revenue from taxes on goods and services was the main contributor to higher tax to GDP ratio. So you can see that has been proven. That's a positive statement. Next.
Alright, so taxing the rich to give to the poor is arguably a fair fiscal policy measure for any government.
So is that normative or positive? Come on guys, Corey again. Yes, that's a normative statement indeed. It uses statements as fair, right? It's an opinion. And being factual, it's an opinion. Good. Next.
Alright, so the BPO sector increases employment in Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Is that positive or normative? Again, yes, that's a positive statement because it can be proven. As you can see there, it says that Jamaica is purely an example of success in the BPO sector, employing 36,000 employees. And you can see also that in 2010, the Caribbean's BPO sector provided employment of 47,000. So it's factual. It has been proven. We have two more statements. Go ahead, Israel.
Right, so to reduce crime, the government ought to enact the death penalty.
No, ought to enact the death penalty. Positive or normative? What do you think, Israel?
Well, even though you guys are morally sound and want to mitigate the crime, right? I know that you guys have some moral thing about it, but ought to is just a desire. It's an opinion, so it's a normative statement.
Okay, thank you. Alright guys, so we have the last statement which says that registering for Econ Infinity increases the quality grades for all its members. Is that positive or normative? Yes, it's positive. It can be tested. All you have to do is ensure that you register for our classes, call the number, we compare your expected grade to your actual grade, and this will definitely be an improvement. So is segment. What we have in store?
We have so much in store, guys. You guys are going to learn about satisfaction, your desires, and how we model that in an economic concept. We're going to give you a graphical view, a numerical view, and things that you can apply in real life. So stay in tune with us, and we'll see you in the next segment. Welcome back to Business School, guys. I'm Ainsworth, and this is my partner in crime, Peter Williams. And we're here today now to talk about the concept of utility, right? And what is that, Peter?
Yes, utility. But yes, I remember this guy. Every single day, he normally go to Dunzero Falls. Then after a time, he just started diminishing the number of days he go to the fall. What happened? Because I'm sure it wasn't because of COVID-19, because it was prior. And it was because of finances, because I know he's rich.
Hold on, don't give people the wrong idea that they're comfortable. I'm rich in economics knowledge, right? That's the soul of riches.
Yes, but what really happened? Why did you stop then?
Alright, so I remember the first time I thought about the falls and I saw it, right? I could climb it up and I just wanted that feeling. So I go, I get the shoes, I get all the equipment, and I make that first climb. And then the next time now I said, alright, Jamaican style. I wanted to go without any shoes or anything, so I climbed it. But after that I conquered it, so it's just like it don't give me the same feeling like the same.
Yeah, before, it's satisfaction before. Alright, so guys, in essence, what utility is. Utility is the satisfaction that is derived from consuming a good or a service. So when you hear utility, it is measured in utils, utils, but it's the satisfaction that you get when you consume a good or a service. Now, we can represent utility by two different concepts. We can look at it from the cardinal approach to utility and the ordinal approach. Now, what Ainsworth will do for us now is to go into the cardinal approach, and then thereafter we'll dive right into the ordinal. So Ainsworth, take it away.
No problem. So guys, as Peter said, utility is satisfaction. With the cardinal approach, we try to assign a numerical value to how you feel when you consume a good or service.
We talk about cardinal. What do we talk about? Like quantity?
Quantity, number. So it's like you're eating a chocolate bar and it says this gives me like 100 worth of satisfaction. And I know you guys are questioning and say, how we measure that? And it's just a frame of thinking. So we can calculate and learn some insight from this theory.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to the board and try to calculate cardinal utility. So we have our favorite good right here, which is fruitcake, right? And we have the quantities ranging from 1 to 5. And what this is saying that once we consume one fruitcake, we're going to get 100 worth of satisfaction, utils from it. Once we get 2, we get 160, 3, 180, and so on. So it increases. The more we increase, the more satisfaction. But however, we reach a point at which we start to feel less satisfied. And why is that? It's because of the concept of marginal utility. Now in economics, we look at the margins, the minute, the one additional change of a lot. And what marginal utility is, guys, is that additional satisfaction that you get from consuming one more unit of the good. So it's the additional satisfaction we get from consuming one more fruit cake. How does one more fruit cake add to our satisfaction? And that is what we're going to calculate. So all we have to do is to find the formula, and all it is the change. So we know that you guys are superheroes, right? And you know what delta means. This triangle here means change. So the change in total utility over the change in quantity. So that is the formula. And what we mean by change, guys, is that if you want to see change in your life, you have to subtract the old from the new. So that is what we do about change. We subtract the old figure from the new one. So prior to this, we did not know how much, because that was here. So we start off with a dash. Now looking now to calculate the marginal utility from moving from consuming one fruit cake to 2, we find the change in total utility. So originally we were 100 and the new is 160. Remember the formula, guys? New from old. 160, take away 100 gives you 60. And that is your marginal utility of consuming an additional fruit cake. Once you move from consuming 1 to 2, that's how much satisfaction the second one gives you. And we're just going to calculate that for the rest of them, and we're going to show you a story. So we move from 2 to 3, new from old gives us 20. Then we move from 3 to 4, new from old gives us 10. Then we go from 4 to 5, new from old gives us -5. And that in itself is a concept, a very strict concept, what we call the law of diminishing marginal utility. And it's very easy to see. Imagine that I'm eating fruit cakes and fruit cakes. The first one is going to give me so much satisfaction. The second one some, but when I reach like 5, my belly starts getting full and I start feeling sick. And that just start giving me some diminishing things, you know? So that is what is happening here, guys, with the law of diminishing marginal utility. As you increase your incremental, your additional unit of consumption, you're going to eventually get some level of diminishing from it. You're not going to be as satisfied as you once was when you eat the first one, because the first one gives you so much satisfaction, but you feel so full. Yes. But guys, remember, at Econ Infinity, we dive in very deep into marginal utility and we go into the past paper aspects and apply it to different situations. So remember, you guys can sign up below, right? Incoming attractions, guys, we're going to put this graphically, and Ethan is going to give you a world of knowledge in a term that we call indifference theory. So to stay tuned, guys, and we'll be right back.
Hello my students, I have a tip for you today. Yes, I know that the COVID period can make you feel overwhelmed or depressed, but I want you to do one thing. Just look in the mirror and remind yourself, why is it that you have to succeed in life? Just look in the mirror and say, I can do this. All right? Big up.
Welcome back everyone to Business School. I'm Ethel Williams, and of course from Econ Infinity with my partner
Israel McDonald from Econ Infinity.
Yes, and so Israel, could you give us a recap of what you did in the last segment?
Sure, so we ventured into the topic of utility, satisfaction. And in the cardinal approach, we assign numerical values to utility. But we're going to do something a little bit different. Not even me, but Ethel is going to do something different, right?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do, Ethel?
So now we'll be looking at the ordinal utility approach. So remember, you can look at utility in two ways: cardinal approach and the ordinal approach.
Let it take off.
Thank you, of course. So remember, cardinal says that you can quantify satisfaction. But ordinal, the economists look at it and they say, no, how can you measure utility? It shouldn't be measured. You can't put a figure to utility. So that's how the ordinal came in. Ordinal just simply means order, ranking, first, second, third, fourth. So in the context of satisfaction and utility, ordinal utility basically says that how do you feel, how satisfied are you from looking at a bundle, consuming from the first combination, the second combination, the third combination. So it just looks at the combinations of two good, right? That you feel a level of satisfaction from consuming at different points. So now what we have, we look at a tabular format mixed with the indifference curve, because with ordinal utility we have to integrate the indifference curve. Of course, in the other segment we dive into indifference curve, but we just introduce it here. But now on board you can see we have a combination, right? Combination A is a point where you can choose to consume 1 fruit cake and 15 sorry. If you choose combination A, you can't choose combination B. But if you choose combination B, now you forego combination A, so now you're consuming 2 fruit cake, 12 sorry, so on and so forth. So each combination you're consuming at a different point, right? But over here, you can see we have something called the MRS, which is the marginal rate of substitution. Now what is this? Now the marginal rate of substitution is simple. It looks at what rate do you change one good, increase the consumption of one good and reduce the consumption of another? At what rate will you substitute the consumption of different good while maintaining the same level of satisfaction? That is a form of importance. While maintaining the same level of importance. Because you guys may be saying, this sounds like opportunity cost, right? But what changed that perspective is the fact that we introduce utility, satisfaction, right? So at what rate will you change from one good to the next, right? While maintaining a level of satisfaction. So the MRS is simply the slope of the indifference curve. What do we mean by slope? Slope is the same as gradient, it's the same as rate of change. It's simply along this curve here, which is the indifference curve, the MRS is the slope of it, is the rate of change, right? How do we calculate slope? It's simple the change in the y-axis over the change in the x-axis. Rise over run. The change in rise, the y-axis, over run. Everyone must remember that from C6 math. So it's the change in y, which would here is y. We call sorry y, it's on the y-axis, and normally they label the good on the y-axis is the one with the highest change. Right? The one with the highest change, the greater change, and the one with the lower change is in the denominator most times. So this is good x and this is good y. So let's look at the marginal rate of substitution. Now, if we are not consuming, we didn't know what is being consumed before A. So we put a dash here. So you always do that. We don't know what the consumption was. But we can work from B. So if we are consuming, we want more fruit cakes. In deciding to get an additional fruit cake, we have to give up some sorry. Right? So how much sorry we gave up? We gave up 3. Now if you realize, insert has showed us the formula for change. For change, it's new minus old. And the new figure is 12 at this point. The change in this would be 12 minus 50, which is negative 3, right? And the change in x would be from 2 to 1, which would be 1. So it's 3 over 1, negative 3 over 1, which is equal to negative 3. Now, we don't have to use the negative sign, we can use the positive of it, because all it's saying is that we reduce our consumption of good y, which is sorry, by 3, and that is our marginal rate of substitution. So you could always use the positive form and put 3. So we'll do that for the rest of them. So the change here now from at point C would be 10 minus 2, 12, which is minus 2, and there's 1 here, so it would be negative 2 over 1, which is negative 2, and here we have a change of 1, 1, negative 1 over 1, which is negative 1. Of course, again, it's simply you could just use the positive form, and the interpretation is important. It is, you have to give up 3, to get an additional fruit cake. 2 sorry, 1 sorry for additional fruit cake. And that's it for ordinal utility aids, right?
Yes guys, so next time, tune in because we're going to dive in deep into indifference curve and we're going to answer a question. What will consumers choose? And that is very important. So guys, tune in next week from Business School. We are from Econ Infinity and we see you next time.